A bob haircut can be one of the most youthful, elegant, and timeless styles a woman can wear. But the truth is, a few small mistakes can completely change the way it frames your face, adding years instead of subtracting them. Today, we're going to uncover the 5 most common bob mistakes that instantly age women, and more importantly, how to fix each one so your haircut works for you, not against you. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let's explore how the right tweaks can bring out your softness, your glow, and your confidence at any age. Let's begin with the first bob mistake I see all the time. A length that cuts across the jaw in the wrong way. When it comes to bobs, length is everything. A few millimeters can decide whether your haircut lifts your features or drags them downward. The most common mistake is choosing a bob length that hits right at the widest point of the jawline. This creates a boxy effect and highlights heaviness around the lower face, something many women over 50 try to avoid. A bob sitting squarely at the jaw cuts the face in half visually, giving the illusion of added width and pulling focus away from the cheekbones and eyes, the areas that naturally bring youthfulness. What usually happens is that women take inspiration from old pictures of themselves or from celebrities with completely different bone structures. But a bob is personal. It needs to follow your face shape, not someone else's. The fix is surprisingly simple yet transformative. Shift the length slightly above or below the jaw. A bob that sits just below the jaw allows it to elongate the face softly, giving a slimming, lengthening effect. Meanwhile, a bob that sits just above the jaw can bring beautiful lift and openness to the face. Another important factor is movement. If the ends are cut bluntly at the wrong length, the haircut loses lightness and becomes too heavy. But when the ends are softened using point cutting, texturizing, or a slightly shattered finish, it creates a flow that directs attention upward. Imagine the difference between a harsh horizontal line versus a soft, breathable edge. One freezes the face, the other frees it. Women often underestimate how the neck contributes to youthfulness. A bob that exposes even a small curve of the neck draws the eye upward and creates that graceful, light look associated with confidence and vitality. So if your bob feels like it's weighing your face down, the issue may not be you. It's simply the inch where the scissors stopped. Adjusting that inch can bring years of youthfulness back instantly. Now moving on to another bob mistake that sneaks up on so many women. Allowing the bob to become too blunt and heavy. A blunt bob looks chic, until it doesn't. The trouble begins when the bluntness starts making the haircut feel stiff, severe, or overly structured. For many women over 50, blunt heaviness can emphasize facial lines, drag the features downward, and create a helmet-like shape that feels anything but youthful. Hair naturally loses density as we age. Yet paradoxically, a blunt haircut can make thinning hair look even thinner. Because all the weight sits on the ends, the top can appear flat, and the overall shape loses dimension. Instead of lifting the facial features, it creates a heavy mass around the bottom, making the haircut appear dated. The fix? Softness. Movement. Airiness. A bob doesn't need to be choppy to look fresh. It just needs delicately placed texture. A stylist can break up the blunt edge by point cutting, slide cutting, or adding minimal internal layers. These techniques don't create a messy or overly layered look. Instead, they bring life and dimension back to the hair without sacrificing the polished shape. Think of it as the difference between a solid block of color and a watercolor painting. The latter has transparency, light, and depth, qualities that feel youthful and effortless. Another issue with blunt bobs is how they interact with natural hair movement. If your hair flips out or curves in slightly, a too blunt cut can exaggerate that movement in an unflattering way. Softening the edges allows your natural pattern to settle more gracefully. Even adding gentle beveling, a slight inward curve at the ends, can create a subtle lifting effect. It frames the face more flattering and helps the bob flow instead of stopping abruptly. A youthful bob never looks heavy. It looks breezy, polished, and full of quiet confidence. Removing even 10% of the weight can turn a bob from aging to age-defying instantly. Next, let's talk about the third mistake, ignoring volume at the crown, which flattens the entire hairstyle. Volume is one of the greatest youth enhancers, yet it's often the first thing women overlook with a bob. A flat crown instantly creates a wider, heavier silhouette. It compresses the face visually, making the features look lower, and giving the illusion of a longer, droopier mid-face. The issue becomes even more obvious if you have fine or thinning hair. Without strategic lift at the crown, the bob appears deflated, and the entire shape collapses into what stylists call a triangle effect. Narrow at the top, wide at the bottom. This is one of the fastest ways to make a bob look outdated. The fix starts with layers, but not the old-fashioned, choppy kind. I'm talking about micro layers at the crown. These are tiny, almost invisible layers that give just enough support to lift the hair without making it look layered. Think of them as scaffolding for your style. They hold up the shape and prevent that flat, droopy look. Another option is a stacked back or a slight graduation. This involves cutting the back shorter and angled upward, creating natural lift and a beautifully sculpted silhouette. It makes the neck look longer, the face more open, and the overall haircut more dynamic. Styling also plays a role here. Even a 1-inch lift added with a round brush, Velcro rollers, or a quick blast at the roots can completely transform your bob. The goal is not big hair, it's balanced hair. A soft crown lift brings back youthful energy and makes the overall shape look freshly done. Many women fear volume because they think it will make their hair look puffy, but modern volume is subtle. It's about creating height, not width. A little lift at the crown can erase years by reshaping the overall proportion of the haircut. A bob without crown volume traps your facial features downward. A bob with crown volume lifts them back up, gently, naturally, and beautifully. Another mistake worth discussing is letting the bob get overlayered or overtextured. While lack of layers can make a bob heavy, too many layers can make it look thin, wispy, and uneven. A combination that instantly ages the face. Overlayering often happens when stylists try to add movement, but end up removing too much structure. The biggest issue with excessive layering is that it makes the bob lose its iconic shape. Instead of having a smooth, sculpted silhouette, the ends look scattered, the sides collapse, and the hair starts to resemble a shag instead of a bob. Women over 50 often experience natural thinning, and too many layers amplify that effect, making the hair look weaker and flatter. The good news is that the fix is surprisingly gentle. To correct an overlayered bob, a stylist can blend the layers by connecting them and adding a bit more weight to the perimeter. This reestablishes structure without making the cut bulky. Soft, longer layers that flow into the rest of the bob bring back harmony to the whole look. Another technique is to add surface layers. Layers that sit on top without breaking into the bulk of the hair. These give movement while maintaining thickness. When done correctly, they create that sleek, modern bob that swings naturally without looking feathered. Over-texturizing also affects how the hair responds to styling. Instead of a smooth finish, you get frizz, flyaways, and ends that stick out unpredictably. Mature hair is more fragile, so aggressive thinning shears can worsen dryness and damage. The goal is balance. Not too heavy, not too light. A youthful bob looks healthy, full, and controlled. Not stiff. Not wispy. Just beautifully rounded with a touch of movement. Rebuilding an overlayered bob may take 1 or 2 trims, but the transformation is worth it. Once the structure returns, the entire face looks more lifted, and styling becomes effortless again. As we continue, let's take a look at the 5th mistake, neglecting face framing pieces that soften and lift the features. A bob without face framing pieces is like a dress without tailoring. It may fit, but it doesn't flatter. Many women mistakenly opt for a blunt, one-length bob thinking it will look sleek and neat. But what actually happens is that the haircut becomes too severe, too sharp, and too unforgiving. Face framing pieces are small, strategic strands that curve toward the face, softening the jawline, enhancing the cheekbones, and creating movement around the eyes. They are especially important for mature women because they create lift where natural volume has diminished. Without face framing layers, all the weight sits at the sides. This can make the face look wider, the features look lower, and the haircut appear outdated. Even a beautifully cut bob can age you if it lacks this softness. The fix is subtle yet powerful, adding gentle, tapered face framing pieces that blend seamlessly into the bob. These pieces don't need to be dramatic. Even a soft contour around the cheeks can change the entire look. They bring the eyes forward, highlight the smile, and create that youthful, effortless flow seen in modern cuts. Another benefit of face framing is movement. When the hair moves around the face, it distracts from fine lines, brightens the eyes, and creates a fresh, lively energy. This is why many Hollywood bobs look youthful. They always include some type of contouring around the face. Styling these pieces is very simple. A slight bend with a round brush or a soft wave with a curling iron gives a gentle curtain effect that lifts the features. No heavy curls needed, just a breath of movement. The right face framing can take years off your appearance without changing the length of your bob. It's one of the most overlooked but most powerful ways to bring softness back. And finally, let's discuss the sixth mistake: choosing the wrong parting, which can destroy the shape of your bob. The parting of a bob seems minor, but it has the power to completely change your facial proportions. Many women stick with the same part they've had for decades, even if their face shape, hair density, and features have changed over time. A poorly chosen part can flatten the hair, widen the face, or emphasize asymmetry. A middle part, for example, can look stunning, but not on everyone. If your features are sharper or if you have thinning at the midline, a middle part can pull everything downward and create a more severe look. On the other hand, a deep side part can overexpose one side of thinning hair or cause the haircut to lose balance. The fix is individual analysis. One of the most flattering solutions for mature women is a soft side part, not too deep, not too centered. This gentle angle creates natural lift, adds volume at the crown, and directs the hair in a way that frames the eyes and cheekbones beautifully. Switching your part by even half an inch can give your bob a completely new silhouette. It allows the hair to fall in fresh ways, creating movement and easing the weight distribution. Some women find that a zigzag part or slightly off-center part brings flattering fullness to the top. Another important aspect is how the part influences the styling. A part that directs too much hair to one side can collapse the other side, making the bob uneven. But a balanced part distributes the weight evenly, enhancing symmetry, a key element of youthfulness. If your bob feels off, don't immediately blame the cut. Sometimes it's the parting that needs adjusting. Explore different angles in the mirror. Move your part slightly left, slightly right. You'll be surprised how small shifts can bring harmony to your features. A bob can be one of the most youthful, flattering, and confidence-boosting haircuts when it's shaped with intention. Avoiding these mistakes, and knowing how to fix them, ensures your haircut highlights your natural beauty instead of aging you. Small tweaks make big differences, and the right bob will always make you feel lighter, brighter, and more radiant. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path.